who were in different tracks, and now you've come to track 2. So we have a very exciting panel, and I want to actually welcome everyone on our panel on overcoming barriers to real-time analytics, scaling for success. Today we'll explore how leading organizations are navigating infrastructure limitations, unifying data sources, and unlocking business value from real-time insights. So let's meet our incredible panelists. We have Jupsimer Singh, who's data and business systems lead from Vale Base Metals. We have Chris Pierpan, who's senior director Informatica. We have Jonathan Wiersma, Director, Data and Analytics Center, J&J Innovative Medicine. And we have Dr. Yvonne Leung, Professor of Analytics, Northeastern University. And I am Neha Baluja. I'm sure most of you know me by now. Moderating the panel. Okay, so let's give our panelists a big round of applause, everyone. Lovely. Okay, I'm going to get started with the question that's on everyone's mind. What does real-time analytics mean to you in your industry? So I'm going to start with Jupsimer, and then we'll just go one by one and have all of you answer it.
Okay, Vale Base Metal is a mining company, so we are heavy on operations. Our values reside in health first. Everybody should reach home first. And when we tie up this analytics to real-time data, it means a lot for us because we operate on a lot of IoT devices that produce a lot of data. It can be structured, unstructured. So within our team, we try to bifurcate that. And for us, delivery, data, and decision all needs to be in sync for everything to work perfectly. It's I think the most important thing.
Thank you. Chris, what are your thoughts?
Sure. So coming from a technology provider, we kind of span industries. I'd say most of what we see are, are companies that need to make a decision and want to have an informed view of the data to help them make that decision. And with the dawn of AI, and every other word at the conference today is AI, but is being able to make fast decisions automated means that that's to them, that's what advanced analytics means, and the accessibility. So I don't want to have to go through a developer. I don't want to have to email 5 people. I need to be able to get the data I need now and have it be up to date.
That's amazing. John.
Interesting, yeah. And for me, so I span a very wide background. So right now I am with Johnson & Johnson Innovative Medicines, a very large pharmaceutical company. But I think real time means something different to almost everybody. And I think that's where, I've worked with organizations like insurance companies. I've worked with insurance companies like, AWS, where, multi-second transactions, right, or minimal second transactions is what's considered real time. Now I'm a large pharma company, right, and literally some of our data feeds are only updated once a month, right? So how do we ensure that we get that to people and that it's accurately? And, I'll almost challenge you a little bit on that point, right? Because just because you have data available for people and you make it available, how do you make sure people use that data, right, to drive their strategy? So I think that's where my reflection is about real time. Is it really means you have to define that first. Make sure you define what real time means to you.
Yeah. Fun.
Yes. So 7 years ago, I tried to promote real-time analytics to Princess Margaret. It's a local Canadian cancer center. And they think I was crazy. Like, what do you mean by real-time analytics? And then, so I worked for the government before, Cancer Care Ontario, or now it's called Ontario Health. And we love to have semi-real-time or near real-time data that's to help us govern funding and resource for all the cancer centers in Ontario. So, but I wanted to have that kind of capability to assist therapists at the hospital level, so then the hospital be able to manage more patients at the same time. We can build real-time analytics, near-real-time analytics to track the progress or the emotion of the patients, so then we can offer better services. So that's what real-time analytics to mean to me.
Thank you so much. Okay. Thanks a lot for your answers. I'm actually going to ask Jupsimer and Chris this question. So I would like to start with the reality check. What are the biggest roadblocks you've faced when trying to scale real-time analytics, and how did you overcome them? So, Chris, I'm going to start with you, and then we'll end with Jupsimer.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably 4 or 5 areas. I'll pick a couple that I've seen, the most, especially in my current role. I think the immediate answer some companies have is infrastructure, right? Power, speed. What I've seen be the biggest barrier is knowing what's in your data, how good of a quality it is it consistent, is it going to surprise any of the people who may not fully understand what's in it, right? And that accessibility question is kind of tied to that. And I think companies sometimes move ahead, the cart before the horse, so to speak, of, hey, I have this dashboard, here's a new view, and it's in the end, it's not really giving them anything to make a different or new decision on. It doesn't give them any insight, right? So really thinking about those points, along with, there's a definite challenge around scale and speed as well.
Okay.
Okay, I'll just share a use case that we did from my previous experience, and one that we have got getting transferred into mining industry as well. Previously I used to work for a municipal, and we are trying to do the same replication in mining as well, where the users go to a specific, like a chatbot, puts their requirement and gets the kind of forms they need to fill. Quick and easy win. It saves a lot of time. Now coming back to challenges, tons of challenges. We have, specifically in mining, we have a person with 25 years of experience, subject matter expert, knows everything. The things are not in a documentation, they are sitting in their mind. The challenge is to translate that into a systematic way where we can connect, create a semantic model or unified layer. The first step is to transfer all that knowledge into a systematic, organized structure. We are dealing with unstructured data and eventually feeding that into a model which can reply to your answer and future-proofing it so that this does not happen ever again, so that we have a better, reliable solution.
Yeah, absolutely. And that makes so much sense. I think all of us face that in our industries as well, where we have people who have all the information here, but it's not documented. And it's time to start documenting all of that. It's so important to get that out there. Thank you. So the next question I'm actually going to ask Jonathan, Yvonne, and Chris. How do you balance speed with trust? And what practices have helped you ensure data quality and reliability in real-time analytics? So, Yvonne, if I could start with you.
Sure. Quality and trust.
And reliability.
Reliability.
Yes, absolutely.
So what we did was taking some real-life data from the patients and therapists. At Princess Margaret, we have offered an online patient support group for years. It was called Cancer Chat Canada. So we collected about 100,000 of conversations between a therapist and different patient in a group setting. And then we used that to train a little model. Back then, I'm talking about before ChatGPT. So we have a language model, we have a model, and then we teach this kind of conversation to a algorithm. So then it recognized the common language, distressed expression, and then we are able to teach that to the system, so that the system be able to recognize the very cancer-specific distressed expression, or different variations of how patients express their not comfortable and stuff. So so that, based on the data, we can trust that somehow we are very tailored to the patient population and use their data to train the model to, to understand distress from their own wording. So then we also have a bunch of experts, they're psychologists, and then they look through this system. When the system go live and someone is talking, then the system be able to recognize the distress expression. So then we flag that as a dry run and ask the expert to look at these flagging and see if they're actually meant to be or interpreted as distress. So then these also build trust with the system. So human in the loop is always the most expensive, but the most common way to achieve the quality and trust.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. John, what are your thoughts?
So speed and trust, right? And I think that's where the first thing, I could go on and on about different examples from hospitals or from government, but I will use a very recent example from J&J, where it all comes down, and I think you kind of alluded to this, Chris, was that the fact that you have to be able to demonstrate the value, right, of your analytics. You got to get people to buy in. You got to show them what's in it for me. Like, what's that saying from that sports movie? Show me the money, right? And I think that's where so very tangible recent experiences. We have territory managers, right, in the pharmaceutical industry. They go out, they have relationships with physicians, they have meaningful conversations, trying to optimize access to our pharmaceutical products, right? Very nice way of trying to say that they're selling, that they're selling pharmaceutical products. But the truth is, the education, right, and they're thinking about it, and they're very good at identifying who are the doctors, who are their top performers, right? Who are the ones who are going to I can have a meaningful conversation with, and I know it's going to provide some meaningful results for our company in terms of being able to get more patients, more access to more pharmaceutical products. And so I think that's great, but then what we were able to do is to say, we have this new AI kind of initiative that we're doing called Next Best Actions, where we're sending out you a prompt saying, traditionally you may have went and talked to, Dr. Jaspinder, but, today we want you to talk to Dr. Chris. And so therefore you should listen to and so how do we prove to them that that's going to work? By doing an impact analysis, right? So we kind of create cohorts of test and control groups, those who got physicians, those who reacted off of the analytics, those who did not react off of the analytics, and be able to demonstrate that if those group, right, that did, and now the ironic part here is that territory managers by themselves do a very good job at identifying who they should be speaking with and managing their priority customers. However, we could clearly demonstrate that if they do adopt the analytics, we can provide them with a boost, right? And so therefore, they're going to actually see about a 15, perhaps maybe a 10% increase, right? In not in their necessarily productivity, but in the results of their productivity. And by able to demonstrate that, it gets buy-ins, right? Then you get that champion at the ground level say, yeah, you know what? I'm a person who loves these new next best actions. I adhere to them. I follow them. It makes my day easier, and I'm able to get better results. So I think that's what it really boils down to.
Yeah. Thank you. Chris, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree with what he's saying. I think if you start talking about advanced analytics, you're inevitably going to get to AI, and you're inevitably going to talk about natural language prompting, some bots, something using that data to give people an answer. Today's world, advanced analytics can also mean show me the data however I want it, and tell me how fresh it is, tell me what quality it is.
Right.
Now, to scale that, you need to have a quality process that can be automated and tested constantly, and have some human interaction, because hey, I'm seeing, if you're talking about AI models, I'm seeing drift, so my analytics are becoming a little bit misleading, or I'm seeing errors in some of the sources I have, or somebody introduced this new source of data and I've got duplicates or I've got a mismatch. I queried Chris. I saw Chris 3 times. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? And I'm on the phone with Chris. That's really bad. So that speed and scale issue, when you start really doing it, deploying to production, testing with real data, if you don't have that governance, automation piece in place, you're quickly either going to get in trouble or you're going to fail, or it's going to be a very limited value. I'm going to give you a slightly better answer, but it wasn't the step level that I expected.
Just so I can jump in there, because you said a
Absolutely.
keyword fail, right? And I think that's having a willingness to fail is a really key thing, and knowing that when to, not to sink good money after, or what does that say? Not to sink good money after bad money, right? Knowing when to cut the cord and saying, hey, this is not working. Let's not continue to invest in this. Let's start something new. So when I worked with AWS, that was something that we did really quickly, is make decisions, and knowing that you could reverse that decision.
Yep.
Right? There's some decisions that are not reversible, but most of them are, right? And being willing to say, you know what, we're going to fail. That's okay.
Right.
Let's move on to the next one.
Yeah. Do you want to chime in as well?
I would like to mention something that I've learned back in 2022, and I've worked rigorously on it. That is, first of all, human intelligence is powerful. We talk about a concept called as RHLF, which is reinforcement human learning, and the feedback we give it to AI to perform the way it's performing today. Yes, we do have a lot of data. Are those decisions biased? We don't know. Are those decisions driven by a specific scenario? We don't know. But we have an output. The way the output work is, and it's getting improved, is based on the feedback we say yes or no. And that's one of the reasons when you go on to ChatGPT or Grok or any other chatting bot, it does ask you whether the answer is correct or not. The reason is they want you to authenticate what they have provided is correct or not. And it gets measured. And that gets feedback again, back again, until the time the model is capable of itself doing a well-advanced result out of it. So AI in itself has been evolving, and there's a lot of input that's needed for this whole system and architecture to be maintained.
That's awesome. And I would like to actually stick with you for the next question and start off with you. Where have you seen the most measurable business impact from real-time analytics? And what helped you get buy-in to make it happen? I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with. And everyone's wondering, how do I get that buy-in? And how do I have the conversation? So.
Okay. I often say we sometimes make a Boeing 787 and then we try to find where the engine is. If I pick up a group of, we have a lot of contract specialists that are dealing with day-to-day contracts and funds being added, being checked in, checked out, and many a times the data is coinciding with them. It's not being shared. So a major win for us was having sessions where everybody breaks in, talks about the same process, and somebody is sitting there just noting down what is the common schema, what are the attributes that can be said throughout the process that can lay out those key stones to build a systematic way. While doing this, of course, we have built our own model itself, which is able to tell you what kind of contract, when it's going to get expired, alerts, and we have set some rules on top of it. So this has been a key win for us.
Thank you. Yvonne, what are your thoughts on that?
To get buy-in, it's a difficult question.
Yeah.
Because in healthcare, we're about 10 years behind the entire industry, and but it's a good thing for a researcher to explore new possibilities.
Absolutely.
As long as you don't cause any trouble or reputation risk to the organization. So what I would do, I would have to reach out to organization like J&J to partner. Or this morning you heard David, the speaker, talk about the artificial patient twin. We need to reach out to other organizations outside of healthcare to get buy-in outside first, and then we create proof of concept, and then bring it back to healthcare setting. Because they are very risk-averse and averse, and it's difficult to move within with the limited funding and limited resource. So reach out, proof of concept,
right.
Try to bring it in with the support from the outside.
I love that, no, for sure. And I want to actually pose the next question to Chris, you, and Jonathan. What's your playbook for future-proofing real-time analytics as data gets bigger, faster, and more complex? So,
yeah, I mean,
you go first.
Yeah.
We don't know the answer.
Ask ChatGPT.
What they call it, magic wand. Yeah, I mean, I think you have to have a solid data foundation. So you have to really look at your governance processes, your management, your structure. How do you test data? How do you measure effectiveness? You need to have that foundation there. And then you could start layering on the different areas of your data that are most important, right? So we start a lot of the time with customer data, and then we layer on transactional data, and then we layer on, and that means we're touching master data and metadata. Because to us, what we find is companies need to scale with the metadata in mind, because the metadata context gives them that enrichment about, who it is, what did they look for, what did they want, how did, patient outcomes, clinical trials. I mean, it's a consistent theme of, what did I get if I layer in my metadata with an LLM? The lift you get in your decision, in your view, is huge. So that foundation really enables you to scale as you need to, right? You don't have to do it all at once. You can start in certain domains or certain areas where you have a business need, and generally that's around a customer or marketing as they're revenue generating, and then you can move in other areas.
I think for future-proof is an interesting one, right? Because I don't think there is a future-proof. I think if we just look at what's happened in the last 6 months and how quickly organizations have evolved, there's no way that anybody is staying at pace with it, right? So how do we future-proof ourselves? In all fairness, it's like events like that, and I think it's a little bit of everyone's answers and thoughts up here, right? Events like today, right, where we're networking amongst different organizations. What I'm doing at J&J might coincide very nicely with the Wish play that we saw earlier, our work that's going on at Princess Margaret, and then how do we work together to bring those things? Again, doing those proof of concepts, right, or the test and learns, as we like to call them, because that's a phrase that we use, or I've adopted from J&J. This whole philosophy that it's not going to be artificial intelligence, it's going to be augmented intelligence, right? And then how do we ensure that people are continuing to see value of it? So I don't think there is a contained answer that I can give you that just says, okay, well, this is the answer for future-proofing.
Right.
It's about staying nimble and then being able to ultimately fail fast and to get back up and to keep working and not be frustrated. People, and we've seen this theme already today, like people are still getting used to using data to drive a strategy. It's only within the last, I had the title, I was fortunate to have a title of a chief analytics officer once. That was about 7 years ago. That was like the second chief analytics officer that existed in healthcare. This whole concept of analytical acumen being a core principle or a core business acumen for senior leadership. Before you never saw these types of roles within organizational structures. I think that we're there, or we're getting there, but a lot of people around us, so in this room, we're there, right? But a lot of people around us, our stakeholders, they're not there yet. They still need to be able to see the data, to execute and think about the data themselves, to be able to say, how does this inform my strategy going forward?
Absolutely.
I could also chime in.
Yes, please.
Because since we build language model from the beginning, we follow the trends tightly as a researcher, and I heard something that is big coming out right now. It's by Anthropic. I think it's led by Anthropic. Every analytics project you may want to look into LLM, putting in LLM into your analytic projects. So they serve as an interface, like a user interface, to translate your request into actual analytics doing. But there's also a piece that's coming out. It's called Model Context Protocol. Have you guys heard about this name? Yeah. So this will open up a lot of possibilities for different data types to be able to be processed and understood and fold up and digest by the model. So long story short, the idea is that you will build a front, like a server, that would communicate with different company, different product, different API, and unify the format of the data, even if it's structure, semi-structure, non-structure, whatever you call it, and the LLM would be able to understand it. So that front, we need to investigate and probably invest some manpower and resource to look into it. So once you break through that format issue or understand different type of data issue, then it open up a world of LLM generative AI capabilities.
Absolutely. No, thank you. Jupsimer, do you have any thoughts on that?
Everybody said a very and that was very thought-provoking. I was just thinking, as a society, we are so much, we only care about sometimes just the output. We don't care about the struggle, the scars that go in. If you want to set up a startup, there's a lot of things that you handle yourself. Or I had a fight with my wife. I go and ask ChatGPT, how should I handle this? I might be able to do very good in that situation. What if she comes to know I've copied this answer from ChatGPT? That's where we should also pay respect in terms of the process in terms of how long does it take, the efforts taken in, because that's the key that helps you in difficult scenarios.
Yeah, and as John said, if you fail, try again. Ask a different prompt to ChatGPT. I'm sure it'll work next time. Okay, so with that, I actually want to open it up for questions because I know this is a topic that is on everyone's mind. So if we can have a mic over here for questions.
Hello. Okay. I absolutely found that hilarious, by the way. So, yeah. I saw this case study where this guy was like, he was fighting with his girlfriend. So he took all screenshots of the chat and put it into ChatGPT. And he's like, is this person gaslighting me? Is she manipulating me? And ChatGPT told, right? And then he broke up with the girlfriend and he was super happy.
Oh, no.
Anyhow.
The answer we wanted.
So the question to everybody in this room is, so right now with the upcoming things with like ChatGPT and all the generative artificial intelligence and whatnot, I think we're becoming less human, right? So what does it mean to be human? In my opinion, it's like selecting pictures of traffic lights. That makes us human, right? If you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Captiva, right?
Okay, CAPTCHA, yeah. Like, tough crowd. So how do we use AI to make us more human?
I love that question. So, panelists.
I mean, I have a hard time seeing a 100% automated AI across industries right now. I think that as a data management provider, right, I can see I've experienced firsthand almost the pitfalls of automating too fast, of leaning on LLMs too quickly, of I joke with my kids all the time because I keep saying I have a degree pre-ChatGPT, so I'm smarter, and they look at me like, well, that doesn't mean your answers are any better. So they're right. So it's like how do I create a system where I can enrich that answer, right? That's the key. So if I give answers about patient outcomes, right, looking at clinical trials, of interacting with a customer on a chat, right, you don't want to completely knock out that human interaction a lot of the time. And there are stats that kind of show, the pure bot success versus human in the loop success. And they generally lean that the human in the loop is a better customer experience. But if it's pure knowledge or pure policy or procedure, that bot can really make that customer happy because they don't have to talk to anybody, right?
Yeah.
And my son doesn't want to call anybody on customer service. He just wants to go and chat, right?
I don't know if everybody got to see David Parker's presentation, right? He had really good on this, right? Where he talked about, you can end up with the AI like we see in the movies, right, the Terminators, or we could think about how we're going to train it. So it's about training the AI with the human and not losing sight of this whole, no, this is not artificial intelligence. This is augmented intelligence, right? And what's the role of humans? And so it's funny because 80% of what a physician, like a primary care physician, does is an algorithm, right? They're trained with algorithms. Like they see, okay, I run this blood test, I run this, I run this, I run this, I rule out that. I run this, I run this. They usually don't, but I don't think we'll ever replace that interaction, right, with a physician, right? So it's funny because ChatGPT right now is making, I think it's about 40% accurate diagnosis based off of it, which is still not bad. I'm actually quite impressed with that. Physicians tend to get it right probably closer to 80% of the time. I'm not saying that we're not going to get there, but we can't lose that human element, right? So I think it's training it with the human intelligence to ensure that it's trained off of the right data sets.
Yeah. I can also chime in. So consciousness, right? Well, I study consciousness. I have a psychology major. Consciousness is something that helps us to survive, basically. So if you see ChatGPT as something that helps us to survive as well, so extend our capability, and as you guys said, augmented our ability, but don't delegate ChatGPT to think for you. So when it think for you, it means that it survive for you. But we still need to get that kind of control over to ourselves. So I think any activities that make you better survivor, like survive better, make you more capable would be something that you should be doing. But if it's make you dumb, right? Is it make all the decision for you, do all the homework for you, then don't do it.
Well, that was amazing. Thank you so much, panelists. Please give them a round of applause. If there's one thing that today has shown is that scaling real-time analytics is a journey for sure, but one that's worth it when it's done right, and don't be afraid to fail. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yvonne.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Well done.
Thank you.
Oh.